Good evening from Washington. I'm Larry O'Connor. We've got plenty tonight about the indictment that we saw handed down yesterday by Special Counsel Jack Smith against former President Donald Trump. We're going to speak with John Salem from Just the News about that, as well as Representative Claudia Tenney, Republican out of New York. So sit tight. We've got plenty of coverage of the actual indictment and the legal aspects of it. But I want to pause for a moment and discuss with you a part of the media coverage on this that is really starting to rub me the wrong way. And maybe it's rubbing you the wrong way too, you just haven't noticed yet. It's this phrase I keep hearing, that this is disqualifying for President Trump. It's disqualifying for someone running for president. We've heard it from the left really since the 2016 election. Anything you heard from Donald Trump was immediately disqualifying. When he made his first speech after coming down that golden escalator at Trump Tower and spoke the truth about how we needed a wall at the southern border to manage our out-of-control illegal immigration, I remember commentators immediately saying it's disqualifying what he said. When he went toe-to-toe with Megyn Kelly during a debate, and then some of the unfortunate things he said about Megyn Kelly afterwards, I saw people say this is disqualifying. When the Access Hollywood tape came out, pretty much everybody in the media declared that it disqualified Donald Trump from being president. And of course, while we know what happened that election night, you, the American people, we had the final word. Well, now I'm seeing it all over again. Yes, of course, from the media. Yes, of course, from Democrats and the left. This is disqualifying. The fact that he's indicted is disqualifying. The fact that he's been indicted twice, oh, forget about it. Now we have these federal charges over January 6th. It's disqualifying. Even friends of mine, conservative commentators who probably were never really in favor of Donald Trump being president, they are now taking this and saying things like, oh, I'm sure you've seen it. If even half of the things in this indictment are true, it's disqualifying. Actually, let's pause on that for a moment. Acknowledge what they're saying here. If even half of the things in the indictment are true. This is a document from a special counsel from the Justice Department filed in a federal court. Why wouldn't all of it be true? Here we've got people actually trying to equivocate in some way, at the same time disqualifying Donald Trump, yet at the same time also acknowledging that the Justice Department could very well be lying about Donald Trump. But no, the most important thing is to disqualify President Trump. I beg you to please be wary of any political commentator, any pundit, any television host, radio host, columnist, some guy they've got on a panel on cable news. Be wary of any of them who tell you that any item in the news or any characteristic of any politician is disqualifying. They shouldn't even be allowed on the ballot, and you certainly shouldn't vote for them because of this thing. It disqualifies them. Forget about not voting for them. You shouldn't even consider voting for them. That's what they're trying to tell you. Like I said, it's what they told you in 2016, and well, you had different thoughts at the time. As well you should. Do you know what is disqualifying for a presidential candidate? There actually is an answer to that question. It's in our Constitution. If you're under 35 years old, that is disqualifying. If you are not a natural-born citizen of the United States of America, by the way, something that still hasn't really been officially defined by our Supreme Court, well, that would also make you disqualified. And under the 14th Amendment, if you're a previous office holder of any federal office and you swore to defend the Constitution and then have been found guilty of insurrection, well, that would also disqualify you from office. This, of course, the 14th Amendment was ratified right after the Civil War. Although even that disqualification has a get-out-of-jail-free clause. If 2/3 of Congress, both houses, vote to overturn it in your case, then you would be allowed to run for office. And that's it. Literally, that's it. Nothing else disqualifies you. You could be president of the United States and serve from inside a jail cell. Nothing else disqualifies you. So when you hear a commentator, when you hear a pundit, when you see some idiot on your Facebook page saying, "That's it, I'm done, it's over, this is disqualifying," what they're really trying to tell you is, based on my standards, my principles, my opinion, my arbitrary biases, I'm trying to intimidate you and bully you away from supporting this particular person. And since I've tried to persuade you with my brilliance, my knowledge, my logic, my reason, and you still won't agree with me, well, now I'm going to shame you. I'm going to tell you that this person is so out of bounds and so outrageous and so unacceptable that he just disqualified himself from holding office. And you're supposed to accept that. You're supposed to say, oh, well, in that case, if he's disqualified. I mean, maybe it's me. But if everything they're throwing at Donald Trump right now, which, by the way, the latest polls show that the majority of Americans, that includes Democrats, by the way, believe that the charges against Donald Trump are politically motivated. But if I'm to believe that all the charges against Donald Trump right now disqualify for him from office, then what am I to make of the fact that Joe Biden, it appears, accepted a bribe from a foreign nation in exchange for favorable treatment from the federal government? Why is that never called disqualifying? What am I supposed to make of Joe Biden lying over and over and over again about his relationship with his son's business interests and his participation in his son's business? After all, we just found out yesterday that one of his son's businesses purchased a phone for President Biden when he was vice president. Now, that means Vice President Joe Biden had a company phone for his son's businesses. Doesn't that mean he was in business with his son, even though they keep denying it? Why is that not disqualifying? Heck, why is a Secretary of State using a private email server for all of her classified top secret correspondence with foreign nations and with entities inside the U.S. government, including the CIA and the FBI, and then deleting 30,000 of her emails? Why isn't that disqualifying? Isn't it fascinating how the disqualifying only goes in one direction and not in the other? It's almost like this whole use of the word disqualifying is a political weapon, a cudgel that's only used in one direction in our political dialogue and not the other. You know, like how the FBI and the DOJ are used. Yeah. I beg you, ignore anyone who tries to tell you that a candidate is disqualified, that their behavior is disqualifying. What they're really trying to do is tell you how to vote. They're trying to tell you how to think. And, well, you're better than that. Other than those three provisions in the U.S. Constitution that clearly spells out the criteria for a presidential candidate, the only other entity in this entire country that has the say as to what is disqualifying and what is not disqualifying is you and me. We, the people. When we go to vote, we'll have our voices heard, and we'll pick our candidate, and we'll cast a ballot. And if those ballots are accurately counted, there will be a winner and there will be a loser. And the loser will have been disqualified. Not by a cable news pundit, not by a columnist, and not by a talk radio host, and not by your liberal brother-in-law on your Facebook page. No, that candidate will have been disqualified by us, the way it's supposed to be. There's more to come on O'Connor Tonight. Keep it here. You're watching the Salem News Channel.